Here we go again. Far out, it's been a long day. G'day, Wolfman. Right back at you. Oh, welcome back. Good to see you. Hopefully I can get something done today. I hope. If I'm lucky, this guy gonna cross a milestone. Oh, tell you what though, after a full day of work, thank you kindly. I hope to restore him to blinking order sooner than later. And then I can ponder it. You know? I can ask myself such questions as, why did I build an orb? Not that I'm not asking myself that question already on an hourly basis. But sunk cost fallacy, we are too far along to stop now, so I'm going to keep going until I get something workable. Last week was a bit of a struggle because I now have like this cat o' nine tails of shame of all of these servos that I've killed. I'll show you what I mean in a second. All of these, you know, every single one of these is a servo that I killed by plugging into a bad port on the board in here. And I think what's happened, if I dare to guess at my own incompetence for a second, I think what's happened is I didn't protect the PWM board from voltage spikes. There's a couple of ways to do that. But I imagine what's happened is I've actually plugged one of these in while the board was powered on, and that's a bit of a no-no because depending on the order in which these pins connect, you can end up basically pulling the voltage too high. You can cause a bit of a spike, which can then destroy some of the upstream circuitry. So I have a sneaking suspicion that I might have done that to channel 0 on that board, which then means I haven't killed Wheatley. I've lobotomized part of him. Thankfully, I have spare brain. I have extra bits of brain. You know, I have this bit of brain and I have the conventional brain. So depending on how we're feeling, we can either go with German flavored brain or we can go with standard, I'm gonna call this America brain. So you have your two choices. And yeah, so one of these two will work. Roboto Wheatley. So the goal is, and I better not mix my destroyed servos with my good ones. The goal is not to add to this voodoo charm of dead servos that I've burned through. And hopefully get that particular mechanism working properly. I think I know why I broke it as well. So it's a bit of a weird thing. Normally when you write code, the worst thing that can happen is the program can crash. That's kind of the worst thing. Or it'll destroy some data. That's, you know, if you haven't set up your database correctly, you run some code, it deletes some things and you can never get those things back. That's usually the worst thing that can happen. When you interface with hardware, the actual physical world, turns out you get more consequences, more complications, more problems, more consequences. And one of those consequences is you can instruct the servos. Tell me that when I'm making a virus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. If you're making Stuxnet or something, you probably hard-bake bigger consequences. But I maintain the biggest consequences come when software connects with hardware. Because at least, you know, unless you're intending to do something bad, it's really easy to do something dumb that causes permanent damage. And one of the dumb things that I have done, and certainly not the last thing that I am going to do that's in the realm of stupidity, is I actually instructed the inner eye that's moving around. I instructed it to move to a location that caused it to get in the way of the eyelid. So you might have noticed this in some of the other videos. Every now and again, while Wheatley was looking around and blinking, his eyelid wouldn't close the whole way. Now, that's a sign of basically the motion being impaired or impeded by itself. So every time the eye moved into one of these locations and the eyelid tried to close really quickly, the servo would hit that, and that's really bad for the circuitry, basically. So I'm pretty sure I destroyed it by writing bad code that told Wheatley to move his eye to a location that he technically shouldn't be moving it to. So I can fix that. I'm pretty sure I have fixed that, the software side at least, but I need to de-lobotomize Wheatley by putting one of these bad boys back in there. So we'll do that today. We'll swap that out. All of this though starts with Le Plan, and I don't know what Le Plan we're up to now. We had Le Plan 3, Le Plan 2. Are we up to Le Plan 4? Is that where we're up to? We had a lot of Le Plans. Le Plan here, Le Plan 3, Planageddon. This one actually I got pretty far in. I'm happy with that. We ended up doing the guide wires. That was better. Everything did work again. I haven't done the compound movement commands. I feel like the compound movement plans are Le Plan. Le Plan. All according to Le Plan. So let's do Le Plan 4. On Le Plan. Hey Gaz, how are you, man? Love Le Plan. Pan Le Plan. So what are we gonna do? We've already installed the fuse. That's a good thing. So what we're gonna do is we're going to install ground wire, shared ground. Shared ground for PSU and Wheatley Brain. Wheatley Brain. So we're gonna do that first. That's like a little bit of eating your vegetables. I need to do that just to make sure that we're protected from basically voltage differentials between the ground. The second thing that we are going to do is I'm going to replace upper eyelid servo, and then we're going to, let's do this thing. So then we're going to replace Wheatley's servo brain, then confirm everything works again. And then if I get to that, I'm going to see if I can do something with the audio. Figure out how to do eyeball audio. And I will explain what I mean by eyeball audio if and when we get to it. But for starters, I need to do a thing. And that thing involves taking some of this wire, and I reckon this is probably just long enough actually. So good, I've actually used all of it. So this wire here, for reasons that probably amount to laziness, I avoided setting up a shared ground for this circuitry, and it worked fine until now. I think best practices, I should probably just do it. So that's going to be one of the things that I'll get started with. Let's do this again. Let's get you back to there. So I can turn on my desk thingy again. Do I have the desk cam? All right, let me try this. Hey. That's better. Okay, cool. We have a desk cam. Probably gonna do it this way. Move all of this jazz over here. All right, Wheatley, you're gonna have to move to the side for a second, buddy. Just while I do this. Wires, cables, incompetence. We are gonna do it. We are going to get there, I'm telling you. Maybe, just maybe. Let's move you over here. Ooh. Move you over here and then you over here. Seems good to me. And push this up this way. Oh my god. Okay, cool. And I need to do the other side too. But for starters, I'm gonna hook this into the ground over there. That should be good enough. Let's do that. Let's go this thing, that thing. Tea is good. Okay, so I can't move the power supply under view of the camera, which is fine. Annoying, but fine. Because I'm not going to be spending a whole lot of time to do this anyway. I do, however, oh. Okay, so ground to ground, ground to ground. Stuff it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Do this thing. Go and take this thing and plug it in again. Probably fine if I just hook it under. Really not a very legit way of doing this, but I think it'll be fine for our purposes. Also, I don't know where my little crimp things went. Basically. Oh, I twist this around quite a bit. That around here. Cool. The idea is that I'm going to hook that around the little ground pole there. Oh man, very touch and go. I'm sure this will be fine, he said with zero confidence. Cool. One of the things I want to do, just to make sure I'm not absolutely crazy, is double check the voltage difference between this, say, the existing ground circuit. Okay, give me 1 second. Yes, I'm done with it. Checking you. Should be fine. It should be fine. Okay. So take this through here. So messy. That's all of that. I then need to take this and plug it into the shared ground. Line is already plugged. So. Ground. You know what? I'm probably gonna need another little Wago clip back there. Do this properly. Big bag of crap, go! Seriously, Wago clips have saved my bacon so many times. These little things, if you're ever doing hobbies, Amazing. Absolutely amazing stuff. Right, so plug both of you. If I can get a green male-to-male cable. Actually, what I need. Do I have one of those? Or do I just strip one of these guys? Okay, so that's clipped on again. Oh my days. There is so much crap on the desk. So much crap. Low-key, once I get Wheatley working stably again, I can't wait to clear all of this away so I can actually have space again. That will happen a little bit later though. For now, I think what we're going to do, take some of this, a little bit of wire, smaller gauge than what we were looking at last time, and I'm going to use that to try and link up all the grounds for my circuit to a common ground, basically. Here's hoping. Here is. So ground, ground, ground. You're also ground. We're going into here. We'll also go into here. And because you're hooked to the same reference level, I probably don't need to do this twice. What I might actually do, go back to the Wago that we were using. One. Two. And I need to trim this. On le plan. Okay. Plug this thing in. Bottom here. Now I just need to sanity check that ground is actually hooked up to all these different little places. I'll do that with my little beeping machine. That's what we want to see. This thing's connected to that thing. That thing's connected to this thing. Okay, that means we've got common ground between all the things. All right. I think that means this is done. That's the first bit. First bit of Le Pan. One more time. Next thing is replacing the upper eyelid servo. That involves ripping out Wheatley's eye. Let's go. All right. Cool. All right, eyeball time. Let's go. Unplug this. Just for safety. Alright, sorry Wheatley, I'm only gonna have to do this like 4 more times. Okay. This little side bit, here's what needs to come off. Maybe what I can do, I don't know if I can get Wheatley low enough for that to work. Part of me is wondering if I can get him to rest on the table. Might actually be able to. There we go. That's not too bad. Alright. We're about to do some open orb surgery. This is janky. Basically, inside Wheatley, got a bunch of servos. We've got this one here that's responsible for moving the upper eyelid, and then we've got some servos for the inner eye as well. This one has been burning out, which is not great. Correct myself, actually. It's this one that has been burning out. As I can see, I've already removed the servo for it. So Do a couple of things here. See if I can hook this up. So red to blue for negative. This one. Got this special little cable that runs off USB-C, which I'm hoping. Ooh, there is a 30-watt one here. There's a little cable here that can negotiate for 30 watts of power, and I think that might be exactly what we need. But hopefully I don't stuff everything by doing this. But if I were to take this and plug it in, hopefully that's negotiated for a little bit of power. Oh. Okay, cool. This is the little thing we're going to use. I'm going to turn this light off. Little thing we're going to use to try and tune the servos. And the reason I want to do this is, well, A, I'm sort of holding out against hope that I haven't completely destroyed that metal servo that I bought. That was a pretty good one. Here it is. Much nicer piece of kit. I fried it. Not great. I mean, it seems okay. Keyword seems. To the servo. It is getting pretty warm though. I don't think it should be. Something's burned out. Okay. Which is weird because it works, but it definitely overheats. Whereas if I were to do something like this one, I'm hoping it doesn't have that effect. So, if I were to take this servo, yeah. It's really interesting. Sometimes when I move the servo, I get a bit of a flicker on this screen, and it's almost like there's interference coming out of the wire. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So that's one extreme. And that's the other extreme. We go to here, the midpoint. Cool. So that's actually quite useful. One of the reasons why I want to use a little servo tester like that is that it helps me control the initial position of the servo before I plug it in. One of the worst things that can happen is if a servo is at the beginning of its motion, beginning of its range, and you plug it into a physical linkage that assumes it's at the end, it'll try to move the rest of the way and it'll rip itself apart. Which isn't great. Now, it have... Ooh, this'll do. So thankfully these servos come with little like mounting screws and things. Just double check this will actually fit too. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure they're a different size. The servo manufacturer does things slightly differently. Oops. Oh, that seems pretty good to me. One thing we can do, we can set this more, let's see. Hook this up to say here. See. Oh my god. These things are so fiddly. It is ridiculous. Yes, I know. Stop beeping at me. Alright, come on, Wheatley. You want this eyeball to fit. Alright. One bit. Tucked in. Then we're going to take a couple of these screws, drive that in. If I can find my bloody screwdriver. Okay, where are you? Turn you off. Oh. Alright, that's back in. Now my favorite bit. M2 screws, if you ever have to deal with them, are a colossal pain in the backside. Small and convenient in some places, but trying to get them in any of their fittings is always a huge battle. Maybe I'm just a scrub, I don't know. But this is always harder for me than it needs to be. Okay. That's it. Oh, and I knocked it out. Almost immediately. Let's try this. Wheatley eyeball. If I plug you in, That's not bad. Alright, let's just see where this goes. Start with. We're gonna back in straight away. Alright, so the second thing I said I'd do, the third thing rather, I've already done this once. Let's hope I don't need to do it again. Next thing I said I'd do is we're going to replace Wheatley's brain. Wheatley's currently running this little German style board. We're going to try that again. I'm going to give the Deutsch the benefit of the doubt and assume that I stuffed up there. This is so fiddly. I don't stuff that up again. Just one at a time. So this one, go to port 0. The very first servo in the batch. Do that. You. Take the second servo and do the same thing. Two. Three. I feel like doing this all separately and then installing the whole board while it's all plugged in is going to save me a lot of time. A lot of time. At least that's the theory. Three on a 0 index should be the 4th pin. 4. Four, 5. Very last one's Servo 7, but I'm probably not going to plug that in just yet. Good. Maybe we do, just to get ready for things. Servo 7 is one of these honking great big things. About 4 of these sit inside Wheatley's head. Sort of here. There's another one at the bottom. There's another one somewhere else. Yeah, it's like 1, 2, 3, and then there's another one for his little eyebrow. And okay, this is number 6, which is leaving me out a bit. You probably 7 or 6. Okay, wait. Time to check the code. What did I actually say Servo 7 was? Servo 7 is the handlebar. Okay, so I have actually swapped these around. That I checked. This to that. Hey, there we go. That's such a crammed little board. Okay, now I need to stick this in there. Pardon. Really. Now, I need to link up the power. Completely forgotten about doing that. On the side of these little boards, there's a little breakout. Looks like this little pin thing here. And so, in addition to the signal that it gets from your controller board, which is stuff here, it also needs a dedicated beefier power supply for all the stuff that it's actually going to run. Something rattling on that board. Before I do this, I actually need a flathead, so it's probably this one. There's 1, 2. Okay, cool. That's what the board looked like. It sits in this little kind of housing thing that sits inside Wheatley's head. And I'm pretty sure last time I did this, very nearly cracked it in half. So I'm going to try and not do that this time. Okay. Probably the best we're going to do for now. Refitting that back in. Next thing I need to do is take these power lines and plug them back in. Because it might be easier if I unplug them a little bit before I do that. Thing coming up. Whoa! Nice to know that my hardware projects end up a lot like my code. Spaghetti. Absolute spaghetti. So V plus is on the right hand side there. One. Put that on. One. And the other one. Big power supply, tiny connection hole. This leads me to believe I am doing it wrong. Alright, come on. Get this thing in there. Why not like put the little cap screw all the way up or something? It feels like it's Not going all the way in. Alright. Here we go. 10th time is the charm. I'm gonna have to take some of these little brands off. I think it's just a bit too much. I've done it before, so clearly it's not that bad. This particular time, doing it the second time round, just fighting me a little bit too much. Yeah, here we go. This might do it. The only saving grace of working with 5 volts is that 5 volts is not going to jump a serious air gap. Other parts of working with it though, little pain in the backside. Screw, open it up. Then we get to have the moment of truth as to whether or not this whole thing works. I feel like every single time I deconstruct Wheatley and put him back together again, there is a non-zero chance that he's just straight up not gonna work. Oh, there we go. It's much more promising. I say that, the second I screw this in, it's just not going to stick. I hope that is stuck. Okay. This is ridiculous. Okay. That's all plugged in, including the LEDs and everything else. I think I've disconnected anything. That said, however, I do need to plug in these things again, which means it's poison. Little grabby boys. I remember the order. It was red. It was red, orange, yellow, and then brown. I'll take this out for now. Beans. Red, orange, yellow, and brown. See it. Pins on either side are empty, and we've got red, orange, yellow, and then brown. And that should hopefully be voltage, data, clock. Ah, ground actually goes on the far side. Glad I checked, because that's actually really important. Alright. Maybe, before I hook this all back up again, I'm going to turn Wheatley on without the eye socketed in. Like an initial sort of power test. Biscuit, man. Oh, nearly forgot a really important part of the puzzle. These two wires, very important. Wheatley can't do much if they're not plugged in. Nice. Alright. I think it's time. Out of there. Very lucky I didn't drop that. Oh. Alright. Moment of truth. Sounded expensive. I think it's okay. Alright, whatever. First step. Alright. If the stream suddenly ends the second I turn this on, it means I've shorted something and I've blown a fuse in my place. So I'm just saying that now in case I suddenly disappear. So wish me luck and hope that doesn't happen. Okay, cool. That's a slightly happier. That's a slightly happier eyeball. I've learned to realize that a particular noise that the servo makes when it can't reach its location is pretty bad, and probably really make sure I never hear it. Oh my god. That's it, nice. And position we want this to be bolted to in the middle. Alright, sweet. Now I get to do the fun job of figuring out what the ranges are again. Excuse me. Let's do it. That means that servo 0 this thing. Servo limit 0, servo limits 1. It's already at 90. Whoops. Okay, that's 100. And does that mean I've set 110 correctly? Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, let's see how far 115 goes. I think 115 takes it the rest of the way. Yeah, cool. All right, so 115, and then if I were to set it to 80, let's see. Okay, yeah, that's still too close for comfort. Maybe we do 85. That's better. Yeah, 85. And the default is going to be 95 or 100. 100 is fine. 100. Then we're going for servo 1. So servo 1. Nice. So I've said 103 is fully open for servo 1. Hoping so. Yeah, that's right. And then we've said that 95 is kind of it fully closed. That's not true at all. 85? Last minute getaway, where would I go? I don't know, man. Probably into rural New South Wales somewhere. Like I always find at the drop of a hat, just hopping in a car and driving somewhere is usually a pretty good time. Maybe head up to the Central Coast somewhere. Otherwise, if it has to be international, maybe Japan. Wait. Okay, so 70 is 001. Let's do 72. It's not a holiday unless you go across the ocean. Guys, you live in one of the, like, in the largest island on the planet. We can go plenty of places that constitute as a holiday. Alright, let's upload this one more time and see if I've got the linkages right. So then this should be 72 really? Alright, let's go. There should be a set eye open command in here somewhere. So if I do this to 10%, I don't know, man. What's the point of a holiday generally? You want to reset, right? You want to break from reality, break from work, break from the sort of, you know, the mundane. Done this correctly? Which of you can go lower? You can't, but you can. Try 82. 82. And the default value for you is probably going to have to be 85, I think. Domestic travel is the definition of mundane. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. It's each their own, man. I think, you know, there's some pretty magical places in and around the Blue Mountains and all the beaches that sort of dot the Central Coast. There's some really beautiful stuff up there. But if you're a city guy, then yeah, probably better off going to Vietnam or Thailand or Japan, checking out somewhere got a bit more energy, a bit more nightlife. Let's upload and monitor this one more time. Plug this all back in. Alright. We're gonna get the eye to close quickly. I think that's fine. I've undershot it a little bit just to stop the eye from kind of crashing into itself as it closes. I think I might leave it at that. Okay. Let's just quickly sandy check the servo limits for 2 and 3. But servo 2 shouldn't go any higher than 90 and any lower than 50. The reason why we don't want to do that is we don't want it to crash into itself. I think that's pretty good. I could even probably set it a time. Actually, wait a minute. This needs to be done in conjunction with the other one. I think Pythagoras, if I move both the servos at the same time, that diagonal length is going to be larger than any of the two components. So that means servo 3, if I send you to 160, what does that look like? Are you hitting anything if I set you to 160? Really? I think you're okay. Okay, cool. I'm gonna shut this all down now. We can start by... Actually, wait, let's do the minimum first. Do the other angle. So that means servo 2 going to 50. The better question is, Gaz, where do you actually feel like going? Where excites you? Okay, that's probably a little bit too far left, so set you back over to the other side. That's probably fine. Okay. Let's set you. One, 0, 3. I think that's probably a little bit better. You reckon? Do you feel like you've done it enough that it's all sort of a bit ho-hum for you now? What if... That's better. Cool. Hey man, why don't you do something off the beaten track? This is pretty good, I think. So... these servos aren't super strong, but they're sort of doing what I need them to for now. That said and done, like this. So we'll turn that off, and then we'll turn the power off. I think we might be ready to plug this all back in again, provided it doesn't collide with itself. Yeah, I guess, Gaz, it really depends on what kind of trip you're hoping to have. You know, different places offer different things. Never gets less fiddly every time I do it. No, you're not plugged in, that's annoying. Yeah, I can't turn you back on until I've got properly seated. Yeah, I mean, but to your point, if you're just going to go bum on a beach somewhere, Australia has some pretty good beaches for bumming on. Yeah, man, but the cool thing is, because Australia's so huge, you head up to the Gold Coast, they don't get winter there. I think this was the correct way to do it. Note to self, do the tops first, then do the sides. Yeah. All right. Oh, ready to turn it back on again? Just in time for the schoolies. You stay away from schoolies. You've done enough damage to your liver already. You reckon? I feel like the moment you step on a plane, costs just go through the roof. Alright. So, the order is always power first, then the board. Collision waiting for me. But you know what? We're going to find out. That's what experiments are all about. I have no idea what that's doing. Going to unplug you. Alright, let's see if we can bring him back to life. Okay, that's you. I'm going to take table. That's suspicious, Wheatley. Sort of fully closed, Wheatley. Man, mechanical advantage is very annoying. Okay, let's see if we can change this code so that he looks around quite frequently, but he blinks sort of semi-infrequently. Quite a nice blue, actually. I like that blue. Some of the package deals are kind of nutty. $1,000 for a week in Phuket. That's pretty good, man. Okay. So I'm feeling pretty good about the progress that I achieved tonight, at least. Started a little late, started from the background, had to run through a few things just to get back up and running again. My fault entirely. We're getting there, Gary. One of these days, I'm gonna make a personality and I'm gonna model it after you, okay? I need 2 things from you. I need you to describe yourself, a bunch of adjectives, and go do one of those online personality tests. And I need you to give me a color. Sweet, that's what I want to hear. INTP purple. Purple hergasm. All right, cool. Do you think I'm putting it on the plan, by the way? You think I'm kidding? This is going into Le Plan X. Cyberspace. Make Gazbot personality purple. I'm calling Le Plan X because I have no idea when I'll get to that, but it's on the roadmap. Typical developer, won't commit to a deadline. Okay. Backlog. Tech debt. Okay, blink interval, I want that to be, yeah, blink interval can be slow. And then look interval, let's make look interval relatively quick, right? Like every half a second, he should sort of be looking around. So let's do that. Upload a monitor. Okay, let's do it. Not bad. Alright, cool. So, he's blinking, he's looking, he's making noise. Well, not making noise yet, but that's going to be the next thing that I'll get back to now that this thing is alive again. Really like that deep blue. Man, I need to find out what color code that is, because that is beautiful. One of these days, if I feel like I go far enough with this project, I might replace some of these servos with more expensive ones, with a little bit more juice behind them. Platinum plated servos. EPS, man. I know this looks really weird, but I'm trying to listen to see if any of the servos are struggling to meet their end stops. One of them feels like it's just the top one. The top one is just slightly struggling. I wonder. Hey man, this is where we go and play some Omnissa music. Alright, I have just the track for this. Where is it? I need to get a hoodie. Holding the Omnissa. Is this the one? I don't know if you can hear this, guys. Need like a little chain. Please work. Don't tear yourself apart again. Emperor protects. Get a bit of Latin chanting going on in the background. Altine Domine. Mechanicus, fuck you. You know where you can get a wizard's robe from, Gaz? Do a whole thing. I'll really lean into the mechanical tech priest vibe. All right. From the dad section. All right. All right. Hey, I'm trying to diversify, man. I was told that after 30, my choices were to get really into grilling or World War II trivia. I'm trying to do something different. It could just be a bathrobe, it's true. That's true. But I look up wizard robe. Do pubs even ask the trivia that we know though, Gaz? I feel like I want a full-on like monk's robe. Like it needs to be a full-on heavy thing. This would be a colossal waste of space. Perfect. I'll put it in order. Currently figuring out whether or not it's blinking based off the top eyelid only, which is interesting. What's that website that does video game sounds here? Sound Resource. Just answered my own question before I even finished asking it. See if I can find Wheatley. Portal 2, Wheatley. Alright, let's see how this sounds.
Oh no, 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 no! God, come on, you've already solved it!
Okay.
Hello, this is the part where I kill you.
Please don't. Alright. What's some of the longer vice?
Alright, so silent contemplation it is. Mysterious button. Sorry. Silence. Do not speak. In the silence. Let the silence descend. Here it comes. 100% silence. From now. By the way, if you come up with any ideas, do flag them up. Don't feel you've got to stay quiet because I've said absolute silence. So if you come up with an idea, mention it. But otherwise, absolute silence. Starting now. Silence.
Okay, interesting. Might need to do some bit crushing on that to try and make it sound like it's coming through a speaker. Got little bits and bobs I can play with there. Yeah, interesting. Oh, Gary, you know what takes me back a few decades? Where are we? Listen to this one. Points for guessing what this is from. Okay, so this is gonna go into the plan for tomorrow, my dude. Stuff to do later. Ba-dum bum. Infinite mirror. Doo-doo. Oh man. Do you know the game though, Gary? Can you name it? I call it the intergalactic fishing of its time. Ba-dum-bum. Only the best game of the 90s, Gary. See if I can pull this up.
Endlich ein würdiger Gegner.
Oh man, this takes me back. Yeah, absolutely. This is my UT obsession rearing again.
Ich
I mean, just look at this.
Du kannst dich nicht ewig verstecken.
Just the German voiceover. 10 times more menacing.
Die rote Basis wird angegriffen.
Ja,
Die
Ja.
blaue Basis wird angegriffen. Gegner am Rand der blauen Basis. Die rote Basis wird angegriffen.
sie gehören mir allein.
Turm der blauen Basis zerstört.
You get him?
Die blaue Basis wird angegriffen.
Nur eine Fleischwunde.
Oh no.
Wir sehen uns in der Hölle.
Gegner am Rand der blauen Basis.
Ich bin zurück.
Ich bin zurück. Alright. Great game. So, without further ado, I'm going to sign off for tonight. Oh man. If this is using the wired connection, should be. All right, that's me for tonight. I think, my dude. Thank you for joining me, and we're gonna get to some more fun stuff tomorrow. Feel cautiously optimistic, man. Tomorrow we're gonna get it talking. Very keen. Very, very keen. All right. Adios, man.